anything.
I have another device that I can see it on.
Okay, that's good.
So,
Now we had, she may not be there yet. There was a comment in there from Caroline's Craft Tree saying, hello, ladies. So I hope she's still there. And so, Jean, are we
yes,
ready?
yes.
Hi,
Hi.
Susie. So this week, and I cannot believe it, it's episode 10, and our guest today is Jean,
Hi.
aka Lizzie Jean. Now I know from well, a chat conversation and from way back when, that there's a bit of a story as to why you changed your channel name and why you started going Lizzie Jean, what your preferred handle is. So, do you want to just start out by telling that?
Sure, Hazel. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. So Lizzie Jean comes from what my oldest brother used to call me. My name is Jean Elizabeth, and he would always call me Lizzie. And so I decided to use Lizzie Jean. It's just backward. And one of the reasons I changed my channel name, I've used Jean's Gems for ages and ages, but I felt that I wasn't reaching the right audience with Jean's Gems because if I would look up Jean's Gems, I would think it was be a jewelry channel or something of that nature. Opening oyster shells to find pearls, or I don't know. So I decided to change it to Lizzie Jean's Artistic Chaos because my word for 2000 or phrase for 2025 is I'm trying to work through the chaos. And so I got an idea for this name, and so that's how I that evolved. And I like it a lot better, and sometimes I get tongue tied still and call myself autistic chaos, which I'm not. But it's
It's
it's been fun.
I can verify your claim that it was hard to find Jean's Gems, because when I was scrounging around this January, February for contact addresses for people for the Masterboard Madness collab that I was doing, I would get denim jeans and I would get jewelry or
Right.
combinations of jewels and jeans. So, yeah, I can't remember who it was that clued me in that you changed your name, but I'm glad I found you, and and we'll all live happily ever after. Um,
Mhm.
I want to just say hello to the people who are here, and I know from watching, okay, let me just see,
Hi,
get
Mariah.
uh,
Thank you for stopping in. Some
okay, so
people I
we, yes, and that's obviously one of the pluses of
know.
doing this sort of thing. I know I say it every time, but yeah, we do get to cross-pollinate our subscribers. So we've got Caroline's Craft Tree, and I'm in the process of walking Caroline through the process of being able to do this. And I think, other than the horror story of today, us getting set up, it has been surprisingly easy. So that's not a worry. Susie Allen got her Wi-Fi um, package or whatever. It sounded like a screaming hot deal for what she's paying. So she's now able to watch streaming things like this again. And okay, Susan is here from I Turtly Love It. Are you familiar with her channel?
Yes, I'm familiar with her, but I didn't know what her first name was. Susan.
Yeah. Yeah, Susan. And she's the one that does the Sunday news with
Oh,
all of the announcements of collaborations and challenges and you name it. She's been a guest on Heart to Heart, and she's also very graciously published the calendar of upcoming people. Brenda, who clearly loves you, and
Friend, yes.
yeah, and she and I have met because we're in the same province. We're about a couple, and an hour and a half or so apart. Now, I'm sorry, but I cannot remember the first name of Crafting Whimsy. Do you know it?
Um, no.
Tell us in the chat, please. I know, like, she's definitely commented on videos before. I used to keep a cheat sheet of who belongs to what's the real
Chris.
name of the person belonging to. I don't think I know Diane Olson. Is that one of your peeps?
Yes, Diane is, and Martha. PM Artist Studio is a place I hang out 4 times a week, and Trish is Crafting Whimsy.
Trish. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm writing this down. Let's hope I promptly don't lose the page. Okay. Welcome, Trish. If this is the first time you're here, welcome, Diane, for sure. This is the first time you're here, I guess. And now I know I was watching a bunch of your videos, and I know you were raving about PM Artist Studio. And honestly, I've never heard anything but glowing comments about both the products and the people. So, bad girl for not checking it out myself. So just tell me, it's a mother-daughter duo, and P is who? The mother?
Yes, her name is Patricia.
Patricia, and who else?
Mariah is the daughter.
Mariah.
And they are homegrown business. They do everything out of their garage at this point. And they stream 4 times a week. So I'm usually there hanging out, chatting with the people, learning things about printing, gel printing. So that's one of the reasons why you're seeing some of that on my channel, because I've been using their products and also learning a little bit more about how to use my gel plate.
So, of course, I don't know that I can tell. So I don't know if it's the P or the M who's actually here, but whoever you are, welcome.
It's probably Mariah.
Okay, well, welcome, Mariah. And honestly, maybe you need to reach out to me, because we've never done a mother-daughter heart-to-heart, but wouldn't that be fun?
Yes, they are just if you take a moment to watch one of their replays or even come for Sunday morning, they are so much fun. Just a fun live stream where you feel welcome, and their dynamic is amazing. So
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you came here because of Jean. And of course, Martha has been a guest here as well. So welcome, Martha. And let's see, who else might we have? Oh, people are just saying hi to each other. So that's great. Okay. I make it my practice to, in the days upcoming one of these interviews, to just spend some time on a person's channel, see either things that really interest me or things that have just been recently done. So I owe you a few comments, because I was watching some videos and I couldn't comment it in that moment. But as a fellow YouTuber, I know how much comments matter to algorithms. And, sometimes you want to put a gun to your head when you think about stuff like that. But honestly, we do have to support each other. So I will go back and make comments on those. The one thing that kind of grabbed my attention was the video that you did on neurographic art. And it's not the first one like that I've seen, but somehow when a person's to-do list is, seems to be 100 items long, it takes a while for some of these things to get to the top of the list. So do you maybe want to talk about why you did that particular video, when you did, or or did it just come up to the top of your list?
Well, I had watched someone else doing neurographic art in their way. And so I started investigating more about what it meant and where it came from and why it is done. And it can really help you to center on what issue you may be having at that moment. So I'm sure in that particular video, I was expressing some issues that I have with anxiety and depression. And when you start neurographic art, it's not just squiggling all over the page. It should have a purpose and a flow to help you to release some of those feelings that you might have. So you pick a center theme. So let's say I was dealing with maybe the death of my friend at the time. And so that's my theme. And then I'm trying to work out the way that I think of it is the synapses in my brain,
Yeah.
to try to work those out into getting into a calmer and a more relaxed state. And that's what the flow and ebb of the designs are. If you're doing loop-de-loops and those types of things, you're recycling those feelings by doing the loop-de-loop.
Okay.
So a lot of people like to do the loop-de-loops and all that type of thing. And that for them may be their type of neurographic. But if you go back and actually research it, it's the ebbs and the flows of the lines.
Okay, so you said that you had a particular thing that was troubling you, which was the death of a friend. Would you say that whatever is guiding your hand to make those initial marks before you start adding the rounding, is that conscious or subconscious, do you think?
I think that while you're actually making the line, of course, you're conscious as to where your hand is going and where you're drawing, but you're trying to think behind the way that wave or that movement is going, a calmness. It almost reminds you sort of like the ocean and the waves
Mhm.
and how they'll come in and then they'll wash out those feelings. So
Yes.
I think it has a lot to do with both. It can be very intuitive, but at the same time, obviously we're watching where our pen's going
Yeah.
and then later filling in those actual connections.
So much of what we hear in this junk journal community is, oh, there are no rules, anything goes. And I think to some degree, most of us embrace some aspects of that. But I have to say that when you talk about this, it makes me think that it's important to do it the right way and that it
Mhm.
is possible to do it the wrong way.
Mhm.
I- Is that correct?
For neurographic art, yes. Um, there is a correct way to do it. It's and as I was mentioning, when I've seen artists before, they make these beautiful um, loopy designs and things like that, and those are beautiful. And they color them in, and they do the sections. But if you're actually concentrating on what the purpose of the neurographic art is, there is a correct way to do it. You have to
Okay.
be centralizing what that theme is that you want to get out of your head or you want to relax from, and then go
Yeah.
from there.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Now you mentioned the big D word, depression.
Hmm.
And honestly, from what I want to say of my own mental health, as well as so many people that I've met through this through YouTube and um I don't want to generalize and say, well, maybe you have to have a little bit of mental illness to be an artist. I that's probably a leap too far, but it honestly it seems like maybe we should make a list of people who don't have some sort of anxiety, worry, depression, um, things that kind of need some pharmaceutical help. So I don't know, maybe it's far more common than we think, and there should be no shame in discussing it, and there should be no hesitation to seek help.
Right, I agree. And I think you touching on the fact that art in general helps us through those difficult times. And for me, I use my art as a therapy, as a type of therapy. That's one of the reasons why I do so many different things,
Yeah,
because my brain doesn't allow me to concentrate on one certain thing for very long. Like I can do my denim beads and I can do them for 3 or 4 days, but then I want to move on to using my sewing machine, or
yeah,
I want to make tags or something like
yeah,
that. So I find that I go through stages of what is therapeutic for me. And 2025, I started out very slow. I had grandiose ideas of doing these ATC challenges and things like that and put them all out at the end of the year. And then I found that life gets in the way for me much too often. And I just could not, I have a hard time committing to something like that.
yeah,
Um, if it's a small challenge where I know that I'm going to do it and get it over with within a couple things, I'm fine. But I can't do these big long things anymore because my brain can't concentrate on it for that long.
yeah.
I was planning on doing a one ATC every day for 100 days, and I changed it to completing 100 ATCs, however long it takes you, because I
The
just couldn't
10th
do it every day.
anniversary of the challenge.
Right, I just couldn't do it every day.
Yeah. Well, and I'm sorry, for those, and of course I love those of you who return to this heart to heart every time. I did mention earlier that this is the 10th episode, and I want to welcome Denise and Hope. Um, for those of you who, like, I'm sure I'm repeating myself because these are core beliefs, and I find that when I'm talking to fellow artists, I we are alike in so many ways that it's a common thread that keeps repeating itself. But I have said that the best thing about this sort of endeavor is the fact that there is no boss, there is no time clock to punch. We, and only we, decide what we're going to do each day. And I think that is awesome and freeing. And who could ask for anything better?
Right.
So if you work the bead thing out of your system in 4 days and switch to something else, more power to you, because I think who who else should be telling you what to do if not your own heart and desire?
Right. Right. I agree. And it's when it comes back to being mixed media artist, I think that's the beauty of that is you can switch up different things. And then you can also begin to incorporate beads and sewing and jelly printing and all this into one project. And then you cover everything at once. So years ago, when I learned about mixed media from a dear friend of mine, Kim Newberg, I I just decided that that was going to be what I would do. And you can see all this junk behind me. I've collected so much stuff over the years. And I had about 20 years where I didn't do a whole lot because I had to work and support my family. But when I retired, then I was able to do a lot more.
Yeah.
And my husband says that an Amazon box comes every day because I think I need a new product.
Gizmo.
Yeah, like you were talking about the pit pens.
Yeah.
I talked to Martha. I've known about them for a very long time because they used to use them in their journals because you can smear them. And so they would outline a lot of things with them.
Yeah.
And I hadn't thought about them for a long time. And then Martha started using hers. And of course, I had to get a set. So I'm like you. I'm swayed. I have.
So Martha is the enabler, actually.
Yes,
So
she
let's
is.
call a spade, right?
I haven't bought the pan pastels yet, however, because they're a hole in my pocket.
Did you say pan pastels?
Yes,
Oh.
they're little cakes, like little.
Oh, pan.
Yeah.
See, a Canadian would say pan.
Pan. Eh?
Eh? Pan pastels. So a couple of things from what you said. Is it fair to say that mixed media is your first and only love?
No. I mean, mixed media is definitely what I call myself, a self-taught mixed media artist, but I like to doodle. I've been doing a lot more of that lately, drawing, trying to create faces that are my style because I'm not good at portraiture, but I like the doodling aspect of it. So I've been working a little bit with that. And I like to novelty sew. So I will sometimes make little pillows or sachets or little stuffed animals. I love working with wool felt, but I don't do that unless it's winter time because of the texture of the felt, and I have to be careful with some of the fibers because they'll bother me. But
Yeah.
so that's a winter project. When I get out my wool felt and I make little characters, or I like to hand stitch, slow stitch somewhat. So
Oh, yes.
it kind of just depends, like I said, what I'm in the mood for,
Yeah.
and I will do that.
Well, and the way I look at the title or the phrase mixed media is that it can encompass everything you've just listed, the doodling, the slow stitching, everything else. Like, it's like stew or something. You throw anything into the pot because
Right.
it's all legit. I just wanted to say hi to Jonna, who has also been a guest here before, and she's great. I haven't talked about it in any videos or anything yet, but Jonna actually did a personalized learn how to crochet lesson for myself and Carol from Crinkled Path. So I'm surprised I've been able to unclench these fingers. But yeah, she worked us to the bone, but it was a lot of fun. And I am practicing because in that little session, she mentioned that it takes something like, or some people believe that you need to crochet 15 hours a week in order to get some level of proficiency. And of course, I must have been goofing off in a home ec when they were teaching that. So
Me too. I haven't learned how to crochet. I might know a little edging stitch.
oh, well, that's perfect. That's what
For
I want to know.
a little edging stitch for like around. My mom can do all that. She can do doilies, and she can do
Yeah.
that's another thing that I've done is I've taken linens and repurposed them and made needle books. And so, like you say, that we have this list of things that we want to do and make all these wonderful things.
Yeah.
And there's just not enough time. There's not
Yeah.
enough time, it seems, even though I do have my days free for the most part.
I know. Not enough hours in the day, not enough days in the week, and not enough years in a lifetime. Um, so Joan of Joan's Junk Journals is here as well. So
Hi,
thanks for
Joan.
coming, Joan. And okay, so one of the other things I want, well, two, now you talked again, and now I have another thing to talk about. Wool felt. I just found as I was going through my library and culling it, I found a book on wool felting. So do you just buy like a thrifted sweater, wool sweater or something and use that as your basis and then felt it yourself?
No, I don't do felting. Actual
Oh, okay.
the felting process. I use wool felt to make felt animals. For example,
Oh, I see.
I did a mobile for a child's bedroom once with all the little characters, little
Yeah.
sea animals, and I do things like strawberries or mushrooms, different things like that that
So
I enjoy
is
doing.
it just like one step quality wise, one step above cotton felt or
Regular felt,
whatever that cheapest stuff is
the
made of?
fiber, yeah,
Yeah.
it's a better brand. So yes,
Okay. Yeah, because I find that if sometimes you can find felt that's so thin you can almost see through it. Like, it's just
yeah.
not got body to it.
This is a thicker felt, and it's really nice to work with. Um, I started. What got me into that was I used to make penny wool penny. They're called penny rugs, where years ago you would take uh, your wool that you would have left over from your clothing that you might make, or if something would wear out, and you would use a penny or different size coins for your circles, and then you would blanket stitch them together. So you would
Oh,
layer a larger one and then another one on top of it and then another one on top of it, and you would blanket stitch all three of them together, and then you would connect all of them, and you can make a rug or like a what do you call it for your kitchen table, placemat,
oh
those
yeah.
types of things. So that's how I got into using wool felt, was making penny rugs or pennies. So that's a very vintage practice from a
Oh,
long time
cool.
ago. Before me.
Okay, now, and we didn't get to, oh, I should not to scare any future guest away, but we had a bit of drama before we went live because we were talking away and then all of a sudden the screens went blank and it looked like, well, maybe it was my Wi-Fi issue. I went and rebooted but of course, Jean can't hear me saying anything, so I don't know what you thought of. Had just like Elvis has left the building or what. But anyway, so I went to reboot the router. That didn't seem to do the trick. So then I had to turn off my laptop, and that was, Canva wouldn't close and then force quit and all that. So normally it doesn't go like that. But one of the things that we started talking about, and I don't know if her ears are burning or not, was Kim Newberg. And of course, you brought her up, or her name up. So how and when did you come across Kim? Because I love that woman.
I love her too very much. And I really don't know exactly how I found the website that she used to have. She used to have a group. I can't even remember what it was called.
Are you
But
talking about a Facebook group?
no, this was actually a website that
Okay.
she had created, and she people could be members, and we would swap ATCs or alter
Okay.
puzzle pieces, different things that we would
Yeah.
do. And it was really a lot of fun. But I think if I remember correctly, I back then it was very difficult 25 years ago to find collage sheets. To find
You're
collage,
talking that long ago?
yes, yes.
Oh my goodness.
To find like collage sheets with images on them, women or
Yeah.
whatever. And I
Yeah.
don't remember what I was making at the time or why I was looking for that. But Kim had, that's how I found her, through that process of searching the internet trying to find these vintage images. And Kim has always been known, of course, she's Images by Kim,
Yeah.
has always been known for her digitals and her
Yeah.
vintage images. So
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's how I found her years ago. And we exchanged happy mails and
Yeah.
all kinds of stuff when we could afford to do it back then.
Yeah. Well, and that's how I first became aware of you, was through her Happy Mail movement thing,
Right.
because we swapped some mail. And then of course I think it was her that gave me the correct email address so I could reach out to you for the Masterboard Madness in March. Anyway, that's good. I started telling you that last March, because of course I'm in Alberta, she's in New Brunswick. She originally lived in Manitoba, which is sort of the center of the country, and she was planning a trip. And if anyone who's ever watched her channel knows that she's very outgoing and very gracious, and pretty well invites anybody. It seems like she would invite anybody to her place. So, it takes a certain kind of person, me, to kind of test that invitation and see, like, let's have her put her money where her mouth is. Would she actually invite a stranger from Alberta to join her in this get together in Manitoba, in Winnipeg? And it's true, she does. And of course, you don't have to watch many videos to know that she absolutely loves Thelma.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, and obviously people who have subscribed to my channel have probably heard this story before, but I apologize. So, Ukrainian kid, Winnipeg is also a hotbed of Ukrainian people. I come down the escalator in the Winnipeg airport. None of us know what the others look like. I'm expecting a discreet little sign that says Hazel. Instead, I'm greeted by two women decked out in Ukrainian garb, like
Wow.
wearing all the clothing, the welcome bread, a great big sign, Vitaimo Hazel, welcome Hazel. Well, I burst out laughing because clearly, how many Hazels are there in the world? And that was just the start of several, I think maybe I was there 4 days, of so much fun. We ate together. She cracked the whip though, like 7 o'clock, I'm getting picked up at the hotel and we're going somewhere. And
Mm-hmm.
that's also when I met Ruth Aiken and went to a scrapbooking event on Saturday. So met a whole bunch of scrapbookers and other journal people. Very first time I'd ever been to a scrapbooking thing, Lord knows. And it was just so much fun.
Yes.
So yeah, that girl warms my heart. Anyway, let's move on. So I said I had been watching a bunch of your videos, and one of the other things that kind of intrigued me was the one where you took oil pastels and melted them just with your heat gun, if I remember correctly, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, like someone should do a primer on pastels because there are so many kinds. And the ones you see most often in thrift stores are the oil pastels.
Right.
And now there's soft pastels and pan pastels, and the whole thing. Anyway, what possessed you to try that? And since it's been a while since you did the video, are they holding up or are they flaking off?
They're still holding up fine. Actually, what I did was after I melted them to get the design that, or, kind of that marbly design when I melted a couple colors together,
Yeah,
I put them on the gel plate
yeah.
once they
And
cooled
that
down,
kind of sealed it.
and that acrylic paint kind of sealed it. I
Yeah.
thought maybe it was going to crack
Mhm.
when I put it on the gel plate, but it didn't. So it was just something I was scribbling with one of them on one of my ATCs, and nothing was really, it wasn't coloring for me like I wanted it to.
Yeah.
So a piece kind of just fell off, and I thought, I wonder if I can melt this. So I
Yeah.
got out my heat gun and then I melted it, and I loved how it just spread, because
Yeah.
you get some air with the heat gun,
Yeah.
and it just kind of spread, and I added different colors together. And it was just a fun little
Yeah.
thing that I did.
So you were essentially creating bases for ATCs in that video, if I remember.
Right.
So have you completed them, or is that one of those things where you do something for the purpose of a video and then it gets sort of
I use I
shelved?
use them.
Shelved.
I actually use them in I think I used two of them and maybe saved one or two, but yes, I did use them in my ATCs. And
Yeah.
I have a little Facebook page called Lilac Lane Livery Arts, which is another one of my old names I used to use, because we live on Lilac Lane and we used to have horses years ago. So um, that's where that name came from. And that's my Facebook group. And that's usually where I post
Okay.
my ATCs, or on Instagram. I'm on Instagram as _, Lizzie Jean _.
Um, and I love alliteration, so I'm glad that you worked it into your your title. Have you ever tried that same technique on a larger scale, like say a master board, an 8.5 by 11 or
I
bigger?
haven't, because I just discovered it. Now,
Yeah.
what I want, these oil pastels that I got from, we have the Dollar Tree here. I don't know if you have a Dollar Tree where
Yes.
everything's a dollar.
Yeah. Well,
So
well,
I don't,
in theory.
in theory, $1.25 now, actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I don't know how much oil they actually had in them.
Yeah.
They may have been more crayon like. So I'm anxious to get an actual set that I know has some oil based in it, and do those and see how they react.
But
So
even if it's wax based, that's still a good thing because,
yes,
back in school, we all had to melt. Didn't we have to put wax crayons between two pieces of wax paper and then iron them or something?
yes,
So
yeah.
it's going to work either way. But yeah, it was just, um, I guess if I have one thing to say about my own practice here is that I'm not doing mixed media as often as I want to or should be doing, or like the possibilities are endless. So when I hear, when I see and hear people like you and Darcy's, what is her channel? I have
Darcy's
Miss
Adventures with Mixed
Mi- Mi-
Media, I think.
Misadventures.
Oh, Misadventures, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to reach out to her, see if I can get her as a guest because I think that would be fun.
Yes, she's very sweet.
Yeah. Um anyway, that yeah, it's just Well, or the videos that I saw today, painting on denim. I've got denim, I've got paint, I've got stencils.
Right.
All I'm missing is the putting it all together. So I don't know.
Yeah.
How do you like, do you work? Do you have a structure and a routine? Do you show up in your studio every day like a good girl, like a good little soldier and create?
Um, because I have some health issues, I sometimes don't make it in here every single day. I try to make a goal of that because when you're dealing with chronic pain and osteoarthritis and those types of things, moving is better for you.
Yes.
So when I feel bad, whether it's pain wise or depression wise, and I'm not even feeling like getting out of the bed for the day, I try to make myself at least come in here, even if it's only for a little while. I do work very chaotically or messy sometimes. Like I can never find anything. So I've
You
tried.
are the very first creative person to ever say that, just so you know.
I said in my last video, I was like, how many of you wish that you had like 5 of each thing so we could set one, in strategic places? But if I did, I'd still lose them.
I suspect most of us have so much that we do have 5 of most things. We just can't find them, any of them.
Right, right. Like I
Because
could,
like are you a big thrifter?
I love to go thrifting. But my husband doesn't see the importance of thrifting. I come from a long line of estate sales, thrifters. We used to do so much when I was a kid. My mom and her sister, and I don't get to go as often because of my legs. I have to usually take my daughter or someone that can push me in the wheelchair because I can't walk long distances. But I love books,
Yeah.
and I'm always getting books, and I love vintage buttons. I've collected vintage buttons since I was a little girl. So if
Yeah.
I see anything that remotely, even if it's a plastic button and I like the design, I keep it.
Yeah.
I love fabric. At my mother and we have tons of fabric, coming out of our ears. And I love vintage linens. I have some tubs full of those. And there's so many things that I wish I could collect from, like feed sacks from my mom's day. My mom was born in 1938, and
Yeah.
she tells me about having feed sack slips,
Yeah.
and all those things. I just love all of that stuff, old laces and trims, and
Yeah.
so there's like almost a definition between me doing the jelly printing now and then my fabric arts too that I love. So a lot of times when I'm doing a journal, it usually ends up with a piece of fabric in it somewhere as
Yes.
one of the pages. So I love all that old vintage um, ephemera is what I called it. I don't necessarily agree with the new terminology of ephemera because to me that's not true ephemera.
Yeah. So, now I did also see, because of course you've just listed a number of categories that many of us love, excuse me, and many of us collect, and all of us live in houses or apartments or whatever that have a finite amount of space. So are you as troubled by storage and organization as most of the rest of us?
Yes. I'm not an organized person by nature. I love when things are organized. And I've had a lot of people come and help me, but they don't get the point that everything that things need to go in the box that are like all like things have to go in one box. So to them, cleaning up and straightening up my studio and helping me is to just shove everything that's on the table in a box and put a lid on it and put it on my shelf and I'm good to go. Well, then I can't find it.
Yeah.
And then I have to dig it all out again to find it. So you're
Yeah.
looking at me having this chaotic mess all the time. And we do have a young girl that comes and cleans for us and helps us out a little bit. And she'll say, I just straightened this up. Or, and I told her, well, I can't just sit here and not open anything. I've got to get the stuff
Yeah.
out.
And
So
maybe you
right,
have to say thanks, but no thanks. I don't need
well,
that kind of help.
a lot of times she just wants to move stuff so she can help me with like the vacuuming and things like that.
Oh,
But
yeah.
um I really just need to take one section, and just do one section and then another. But I don't want to spend my time doing that. I want to spend my time creating. So
Exactly.
that's why, as you see behind me, I've just got piles of stuff, books and containers full of um, thrifted jewelry and fabric and I mean, I must have 5 or 6 different pen collections of different pens that I like to use and alcohol markers and oh goodness.
I
And
know.
right now, all the paint that I have since I've been printing. So yeah, I'm really enjoying the printing though. It's something that I want to get better at. So I've been working hard on that.
Well, and the beauty of gel printing is that the creations, well, I guess there's that whole copyright issue of using someone's stencils, but the creations are essentially all the work of the artist.
Right.
So, and you couldn't do two the same even if you tried. So there's that
Right.
unique, that surprise reveal that is so much
Hmm.
fun. I did see a short video that you had done on a studio tour, and I don't remember, because sometimes what comes up in the feed is not necessarily in chronological order. So I don't know how long ago you did that. And kudos to you for having the courage to do it, because it's never easy as far as I'm concerned. A person is vulnerable and whatever. Um, I've never done one yet. I keep waiting for things to be perfect, and Lord knows that hasn't happened yet. But it does seem as though, or at least listening to you as you're doing your videos, it seems that everything, anything and everything that you could possibly want is right there within reach. Is that true, or is that an illusion?
um, Pretty much it is. I have to have it that way.
Because
Because
of mobility.
right, right. Um, it. I've just recently started walking without my cane again. So I'm doing better in short distances and I can stand a little bit longer. But for me to stand up and have to search through things or walk across the hallway and try to find something that might be stored elsewhere, it
Yeah.
would be difficult for me to function. So,
Um, we have a Teresa Cobb joining us. And even though she's saying hi from Montreal,
hi,
is she
Teresa. I
somebody
don't
you
know
know?
her. No.
Oh, well, welcome. This is great. to have somebody stumble into our talk show who doesn't have a prior connection to either of us. So welcome, Teresa. Um, so I guess it almost seems, and again, sorry if I'm belaboring this, but it almost seems as though you've said that you need stuff around you and you don't feel it's a good use of your time to spend time organizing and, whatever. So does that mean that you're at peace with the way your craft room is now and you're functioning because chaos is in your name? Or is it something you aspire to, but it's not a high priority?
Um, I think any artist would love to have the perfect studio. You know, clean table and everything organized so that you could find it, and that's my biggest thing, you know, because I have the lack of organization. Sometimes I'm looking for something that I need and I don't remember to get it beforehand when I'm doing a video.
Oh, yeah.
So I think I would love it if it was organized and perfect. But I don't really work that way in general.
Yeah.
I think I
Yeah.
work better with a lot of things around me because um for example, right now I have gel prints here, I have ink, I have sprays. I just printed off some digitals that I got from Kim Newberg. I have stencils here, and I have texture paste, which I've been recently using. And I just, when I have it all here, I think about using it and I use
Yeah.
it more. I've
Yeah.
had embossing powder now for how long? We used to use embossing powder 25, 30 years ago. And I recently got some probably in the last year and just finally opened it in the last day or two. And so when you don't see something,
Yes.
you don't remember to use it.
Yeah.
So I think that's why I want everything here so I can have that inspiration and to
Yeah.
use it and to
I
make it.
think that describes a lot of us. We're stimulated visually,
Mhm.
and it's also a memory aid because, as you say, most of us have so much stuff that even if we do manage to remember that we own it, we can't find it when we need it. So I do the same thing. If I think to myself, well, I haven't done whatever, such and such, for quite a while, I will make a pile that I pretty well have to trip over as a visual cue to get on with it and do it.
Mhm.
Because otherwise, you know, list making doesn't seem to necessarily do the trick because then you're running all over Hell's Half Acre trying to find all the things you need to do to need to have to do it. So
Oh,
I don't know.
yes, it's like I said before, I have to create. It's a therapy for me, and even though I don't film every single thing that I do a lot with things that I want to improve on. For example, I was talking about the gel plate printing. I will sit here and do like 30, 40 sheets and just keep working and working and working. And I may not film that,
Yeah.
but I'm still doing something so that I can continue to hone my skills in certain areas, whether it's drawing or using the paint and learning how the paint works. And I love these new foam stamps that they have created. They're easy to use, and
Do you
I
have one
just,
handy to show us?
Mhm. Yes, I do. These are some of my favorites, which are
Okay.
botanical ones. And as you can see, they're foam.
Yeah.
They're very lightweight. You just put your ink on and print with them and just, lay them down with your hand, and there's hardly ever error with them. I
Yeah.
don't get I don't get the border like I do with the wooden ones. I don't get the movement, so the sliding where you get the double image.
Yeah.
So I don't have one of those things that makes a perfect stamp. So I love these foam ones. And if you have any arthritic issues, they're easier on the hands. Yeah, they really are. And I get all mine from PM Artist Studio, of course, giving them some more plugs in there.
And Diane Olson is asking if you participate in the PM, oh, so it's PM Art Studio gel print swaps.
I do. And I think
Okay.
she says, where do you dry all those 30 sheets? Well, Susie, I just lay them around. I have another table over here. I just kind of lay them around, and in this weather, they dry really quick.
Yeah.
Acrylic paint dries really quick.
Yeah.
So I don't have much of an issue. I can then stack them.
Yeah.
But I do participate, and actually, Diane was one of my partners, I think, whenever I was having some family and some health issues, and I had to bow out. So I think I owe her some prints.
Okay, Diane, we've all now there are all these witnesses that have heard that. So
I
Jean
have a
has some
hard time
homework.
getting to the mail because
Yeah.
I can't go myself. I have to send my hubby or somebody,
Yeah.
and he's like, "What are you mailing now? And why is it costing this?" And I'm like,
Yeah.
nothing we can do about the mail prices, right?
Well, and you should just remind him that it's better when stuff is going out than another Amazon parcel arriving.
Exactly. However, I need the brown wrapping paper that's in the Amazon parcel to make my next journal. So,
Yeah. So so do you do a lot of journal making, or is it mostly art for art's sake?
um, I love to make journals. I don't know that I'm the best at making them. I have a lot of fear around binding. I'm
Oh,
not I'm not very good at binding, and but I do have some that I have made. I've made fabric ones. I've made ones that have tea-dyed paper in them. I don't have any handy to show, but I do have some. I've made some out of paper bags. That's always fun.
yeah.
And I
Um,
I
sorry, I
enjoy.
just want to interrupt. Do you know Becky uh Bokern
Yes.
or Bokern? Well, she's here too.
Hi,
Ah,
Becky.
okay.
Yeah,
And
she's a
I
good
thought,
friend of mine.
yeah, and she said you look beautiful. So, when I tuned in, when I let Jean into the studio, because that's how it works with StreamYard, um, I'd shared the link with her, and then I got on, and then you let the other person, they call it what, enter the stage or something?
Right.
Would you believe she was still doing her makeup?
I don't wear it all every day. My
Well,
husband
I
thinks I
know.
should, but I don't.
Who among us does? We
This
had
is
to.
this is one of my most favorite stamps. This is Becky's beads. This is my Becky
Okay.
Brokern. She is a designer for PM Artist Studio, and she made these beads. And I'm not sure if I probably have some more of hers, but don't have them handy. I just recently ordered some of her stencils, so I'm excited to get those. But Becky works for a bead place, so this was apropos for her to make a bead.
That's
state.
good.
Yes.
And then there's Eddie Makes Art.
Yes, Eddie is a friend of mine as well. He's also a designer for PM Artist Studio. So you can go and what do I have? Let me see what I have of Eddie so I can give him a plug. Eddie he is an amazing printer. He does some of the most beautiful prints. And it looks so effortless to me.
Well,
when he does them. So
and I want to just say welcome to Eddie, because as far as I know, this is only the second time we've had a man join one of these interviews, and I always think we can use a little dash of testosterone. Okay. Lift that up again, because that looks like something I would love, because I realize it's not really paisley, but I love the intricacy of those kinds of designs. That's my favorite kind of
design
pattern. Yeah.
They had an artist last month that designed a paisley one.
Oh yeah.
So they have I haven't used all of them yet, of course, but I have some that I need to try out. So I can't remember, Eddie, is that one of yours?
Somebody said it's a Brad design.
Oh, it's Brad. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I thought for sure I had one of Eddie's, but I may not have it handy. You know, I told you I work in a mess. So if I wanted to find it, I wouldn't be able to.
Yeah. Well, and of course, I think everybody's in good company with Carrie the Crafter as well. Is he is he the most famous designer of all? Or am I slighting someone by saying that?
Honestly, Carrie is a very active designer, and he has designed both stamps and stencils. I don't know if he's the most active, but I think he may have been one of the first ones that became a designer with PM Artist Studio. And Froyle also has some things with them
yes,
as well.
I've seen her. So, I like her videos. Yeah, so Eddie is saying that Carrie's a pretty big deal.
Yeah,
I would say so too. And Becky says that
well.
And Becky says that your shirt would make a great stencil.
Oh, okay. Well, you're welcome to
copyright infringement.
I don't know. Dress Barn would have. I think they're out of business now, so I think we're good.
Oh, Darcy is here.
Mm-hmm.
Darcy, were your ears burning?
She designs.
Jean and I were talking about
too.
you.
Yeah. Yes.
So Darcy, you were on my wish list as a future guest. So I do have your email address, because I had invited you to my Masterboard Madness, and you couldn't say yes because of other commitments. But anyway, I'm going to be harassing you to get you scheduled to do one of these, because I think that would be a lot of fun. And honestly, it's starting to feel like old home week for you, you PM Artist Studio people. This is great.
I think I don't know how long that I've been watching PM Artist Studio, but I was talking. Do you know the half-assed crafter,
I
Laura?
I think I've watched some of her videos, but
Hmm.
yeah,
I
I
had
can't think of anything specific.
I had gotten into the glue booking for a little bit, and that's how I met Laura. And I was talking to Laura about channel growth and these types of things, and she said one of the things that will really help you is to get involved with a group of people that do live streaming on a regular basis. So she suggested that I go to PM Artist Studios stream. And as soon as I started to go, I was in love with just the whole dynamic of not only Mariah and Patricia, but of the chat itself. The chat's
Yeah.
very warm and friendly and funny. And we just cut up in there and we have the greatest time. So Becky's there and Eddie's there, of course, Darcy, and um, like Mariah says, we have a really nice community, and Diane's there, and I think I haven't ever been accepted by a community like that on YouTube before. I've been to other live streams,
Yeah.
and people say hi, but it's not
Yeah.
the same. It's not the same.
Well, and I like Eddie already because he is sarcastic or ironic like me and says, "We're not a cult."
Uh-huh. You should it would be nice if you could get Eddie to come up and talk with you too. Or even Carrie, you never know. He might. I mean,
That's the big leagues, baby.
yeah, he's a busy man, but he's very nice.
Well, Eddie, it's going to be up to you to reach out to me, because of course I don't know your email address or anything like that. So I would, well, my tagline is real conversations with real women, but hey, we can break the rules for a guy who's funny any day of the week.
Yes, he's a hoot.
Yeah. So, I usually ask guests whether or not they are introverts. Where do you fall in that regard?
I am probably not really an introvert. However, I feel that I could just stay here in my studio and not do anything else, not adult, not talk to people, and just, do my art, and I would be content. To not, things do get too peoply for me sometimes. But as far as my personality, once I feel comfortable with you, I think I'm more extroverted. So if I go to a gathering and I feel comfortable, I might go around and introduce myself to everyone. I try to be warm and inviting, but sometimes I do regress into my shell because it does get too peoply for me. And that could be part of the depression thing, you know.
Well, the way I define it is that we love people. I'm an introvert. We love people, but we like them in small doses and one-on-one, as opposed
Yes.
to a whole whack of people. So I would rather have an in-depth conversation with you or someone like you for an hour and a half, where there's some mutual sharing going on. A person feels smarter, entertained, better informed, or whatever at the end of it than before one started, rather than be in a group setting where it's just shallow trivialities and nothing meaningful gets shared or exchanged. So I kind of think that what you just said fits that definition, but I'm not trying to pigeonhole you by any stretch of the imagination.
Well, my mother is still living, and she lives here with us, and she's very intelligent. She never went to college, but she's very well read, um, and she knows a lot of things. And we have a lot of really in-depth conversations sometimes. And she'll say that some people are rather shallow. You know, they can only talk about maybe a certain topic, and it's not to be unkind to that person. It's
Yeah.
just meaning they don't maybe have the same experiences, or
Yeah.
you know, and so it is. I agree with you. I would rather have something stimulating than a lot of people at one time. I
Yeah.
do get really anxious in my older age. I
Yeah.
get kind of more
I think,
anxious the more people and the noise and all of
yeah,
that I just want to
I think that
regress.
that too many people drains us. And, then we need that restorative, that recovery period. And when you said I could happily spend kind of the rest of your days alone crafting in your room, to me, that's exactly how I feel. Now, I obviously force myself to get out there and so on, and I typically enjoy it when I do, but I've gotten a heck of a lot more selective about what I will do. Just because, time is precious and I want to um I want to make the most of it.
Right.
And I certainly didn't want to hurt anyone's feelings by saying shallow. What I mean, in fact, is that most of us, I think, we enjoy our own company. We can keep ourselves amused. We never get bored. We don't need external stimulation to get us going.
Mhm. Agreed.
Okay, this will be easier. How do you feel about purple? Are you a purple lover?
I'm a purple person.
Okay,
I
good.
am. And it's kind of a funny thing. I don't know why I'm drawn to purple, but I am drawn to purple. And I'm someone who, when you were talking about introverted and extroverted, I will never wear red. I would never wear red. Still don't wear red because I don't like people to look at me. And so that's kind of an introverted feeling there, and that's one of the reasons why I don't wear red. But I never really liked red, but I'm beginning to see how red has its place in my art, especially learning about paints. And I never thought I would be a person that would gravitate toward a red, but I do like the purples, and the jewel tones are my colors. I
Me
love
too.
those. I love those.
Yeah.
Um, as you can see, I'm not really a jewelry person. Same rings for 29 years. No big, hoopla with that. So, um, I feel like um, purple is a beautiful color, and Becky loves purple. So
Our
I know
numbers are
you love
legion.
purple. I
So,
know.
oh, sorry. What were you going to say?
I don't know. I got an emergency text from my son. Give me just one moment.
Okay. Oh, but during this time, I'll just mention that if you aren't able to catch us live, you're certainly welcome to watch this on replay. If you don't mind, give the live stream a thumbs up, and Jean will be able to share the replay on her channel by tomorrow. So
Thank you, Hazel. I'm sorry about that. He went to a soccer game, Real Madrid, which he's we are a blended family. My husband's Mexican, and so they love football, which is soccer. And so he was so excited to go and be able to see his favorite team. So he was texting me to let me know he was there because it's pretty far away. So,
well, that's awesome. A person should get to do some of those epic adventures every so often.
yes. Well, if I was
Yeah.
20 again, maybe I would. That was back when I saw the Beach Boys and REO Speedwagon and wore cut off jean shorts and a comb in my back pocket.
You were a hot young thing back in the day, eh? Right
Actually,
at the
not
cutting edge.
really. You know,
Oh,
when I was very shy, very very shy. I didn't get married till I was 25, but I'm glad I waited.
yeah. Well, and that's a moving target these days too, either. I feel like I was a child bride at 19, but that was kind of what was going on back in the day. And now kids have they have other priorities, career success, acquiring, property, traveling the world, and then, okay, maybe a wedding we can squeeze in a wedding. So,
Right.
yeah. It's a different time for sure. So can you tell me if you have like what are your well, number one, I guess first of all, are you a goal setter? And if so, or maybe I can force you into an answer anyway, what are your plans, your aspirations for your channel and your art practice?
Well, I think part of it is becoming more consistent with, for example, I have a goal of setting, let's say, for example, 4 days a week, I can commit to making a video, and each of those days be the same topic weekly, so that I can create more of a playlist and maybe an interest in my channel, because I specialize in maybe not necessarily one thing, but maybe three or four things, and people will look for that. And if there's crossover, then that's fine, because I'm a mixed media artist by design. So I think that's one of the things that I really uh, um, want to do. I aspire to be a couple thousand, subbies. I don't necessarily need to make any money from my channel. I just want to create beautiful things that people love.
Yeah.
And I think that's for me, it's the most important thing, is for people to come and to find some type of joy in what I'm doing, like I have joy in sharing it with them. And I find that I like teaching. I like uh, doing my videos in a way where I'm trying to show you how to do something or teach you how to do something. So in the future, I don't know how long it would take. I would love to be able to teach, have my own classes maybe that I would offer on Teachable or something like that.
Mhm.
So those are some things that I would really like to do in the future. And it's all about making, I think, consistent and continuing to grow and improve. It's a continuous act through the and when I was telling you about my doodling, I'm a big Pinterest user, so I have a huge board on doodles, but I want to create my own style of
Yeah.
doodling. So that's something that I've been working on, because maybe I will make my own cling stamps someday, out of some of my doodles, or foam stamps. Who knows? One of
Yeah.
these days, um, Lizzie Jean will be more than just hands. I hope.
Well, and honestly, I truly believe that, like, I believe in the power of goal setting and vision boards and letting the universe know what it is that you want,
Mhm.
because I think the universe then conspires to help make it happen. And by having the guts to say it out loud, in this setting or some other, um, it just it's out there now. It's real. It's not just a little deep, dark secret that you think of at, 3 in the morning when you can't sleep or something. And since we both have a soft spot for Kim, let me just say that when I was in Manitoba, and we were thrifting, and we'd gather every morning, and they had an itinerary set out, and we were crisscrossing the province and hitting every little, one horse town. She would always ask, "What is it that you're looking for today?" And it's surprising that even as something as simple as thrifting, if you say it out loud, it's more likely to happen. So the fact that you've talked a bit about some of these bigger goals, I think is empowering, and it's more likely to happen.
I hope so.
Yeah. So have you or have um I guess, have I neglected to ask you something that you would really like to say? Is there something that, like, do you have some words of advice for somebody who's, for those people who are coming behind us, and maybe haven't, are still trying to feel their way around, haven't maybe got as many contacts. I mean, clearly you're smitten with PM Artist Studio, so we know that. So that's one of your recommendations. But what else? What would you tell a younger Jean or somebody new coming up?
I think mainly is, don't be afraid to experiment, and and when you're creating, for me, um I think I set unrealistic goals for myself when I started out. I was like, I'm going to be like at 1,000 followers within the first 6 months, and I'm going to, have this amazing channel, and everybody's going to buy all my digitals from the coffee shop, and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. That didn't happen. And so that let me down personally,
Yeah,
because I wasn't having that growth that I expected that I would.
yeah,
So don't make unrealistic goals. Set realistic ones. And um, Becky made a very good comment about making connections. You know, the people that you meet and the way that you treat the people that you meet really helps you grow, not only as a channel, but people come back and they say, "Oh, Kim Newberg she's just the sweetest person." I want them to look at Lizzie Jean or Jean and say, she's a great person. She's an artist. She would give her last dollar to whoever needed it. Um, and that um, if I create a video and something doesn't work out exactly the way it's planned, I'm okay with showing you my mistakes, and I'm okay with being human. And
Oh,
that's what I
yeah.
want to be, behind the screen and behind the hands. I just want to be a human that people enjoy being around. And Becky, I've met her personally. um uh Brenda, I've Becky and I do painting dates in the evening sometimes, and I've met some really nice people on
Yeah.
YouTube, and it's really surprising. And that's what I want people to see, is that Jean's just a down to earth, regular kind of person that, you know,
Yeah.
is just an artist like the rest of you. Just maybe struggling a little slower than some others.
Well, what you've said really resonates with me, and I know that I've said that on my channel, that I want, well, that's part of the reason too for this series, real conversations with real people. Because honestly, I think there are a number of channels out there that are so controlled, so edited to within an inch of their lives that they don't show any vulnerability, any fallibility.
Hmm.
Everything is damn perfect. And I know that in many of my videos, I've said, like I'm pulling back the curtain on what it's really like,
Hmm.
I want to be as congruent and um, authentic as I can possibly be. And I think the people who have met me in person will tell you that I'm the same in person as I am on screen, so to speak. It I don't flip a switch and turn on some kind of an act or pretend perfection when it certainly doesn't exist.
Hmm.
So yeah, we're singing from the same song sheet, kiddo.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure to meet a lot of the folks. It's surprising how many friends I have from Canada, actually. So I'm gonna have to get up there one of these days and just meet Brenda and Hazel and Joan and Kim and Caroline and oh, I always thought Darcy was in Canada, but she's not.
No.
She's actually closer to me, surprisingly, that I realized. So
Yeah.
um, it's it's so fun to meet people, even though we have kind of that introverted maybe ness in the beginning. But it's so fun to meet people. And I have a very dear friend that I met recently. Her name is Rebecca, and she is just a joy to be around. And we have things in common, and you just come across people like that, and it's just really nice. And
Yeah,
um
and I think I mean, that's something that's probably come up practically in every one of these interviews, that the reason we feel like old friends is because we share common interests. We understand each other and our motivation and our aspirations and all of that. Whereas sometimes our relatives and uh civilian friends don't get what we're doing or why, but
no.
but we find a shorthand and a way of just describing the process. And I think honestly, I think that's one of the biggest benefits from this heart to heart series, because now through this process we're also, it's not just a pair of hands anymore. We now have faces and facial expressions and the conversation in the chat that has added that extra bit of humanity and realness to the process. So
Yes.
I want
And
to
I'm
thank you for being here.
Oh, you're very welcome. And what you see is what you get. That's what I say with my videos. We don't want to, this is real. We don't edit it. So
Yeah.
it was such a joy to meet you finally. I've always enjoyed your videos, and thank you so much for having me. I started to tear up for a minute, so I'll try not to do that. because I'm very humbled that you had me to visit with you, Hazel. Thank you.
Well, I don't know why you should be humbled, but I'm glad that I invited you. I'm glad that you said yes. And I'm glad that you brought your posse with you because
Yeah.
we've got introduced to a whole bunch of new people. And as I said earlier, I'll just repeat that, if there's ever, if you can't make some of these, oh, and I meant to ask that. I guess, oh, well, maybe I'll save this for next time. I am considering changing the date to Wednesday, so maybe somehow try to reach out. Maybe I'll put a poll on my channel
Good idea.
and see if Wednesdays would work as well. And of course, there's always the option of the replay because I know sometimes Thursdays isn't even good for me. So whoops.
Thursdays are perfect for me. So I
accidentally started my heat gun.
Oh no.
I've got it hanging in the knee hole of my desk from a hook.
Oh.
So I must have
So
made it one false move.
You're actually in your studio.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you to everyone who joined us today and for being so active in the chat. And thanks again, Jean, for being here. I wish you nothing but success in
Thank
all the
you.
goals for your channel, and I'm sure our paths are going to cross again.
Yes. Thank you for everyone that came to support me. I'm really, really appreciative that you all are there. So they're calling it the Jean Posse now. Thank you, Hazel.
Let's see.
Caroline.
Oh, I was kind of Eddie's a troublemaker.
Uh-huh. He's a character, but we love him. He adds spice to our life.
Okay, and who is Ann Webb? Do we know Ann Webb?
I don't know Anne personally, unless maybe someone in the chat. Day Trip Vintage Co. Do you know who that is?
Oh, yes, she was my guest last week. That's okay. Julie.
Anne is one of PM Artists folks.
Oh, okay. And Griffin's Hale?
Yes, her name is Rhonda. She's one of the designers for PM Artist Studio. They all came to support me. Isn't that amazing?
That is amazing. I can't believe how far behind I am in seeing these comments. I'm sorry for neglecting all of you.
The one thing about PM Artist Studio folks, they can pretty much entertain themselves in a chat.
Okay, now who is Shannon?
Shannon? Art Junkie Shannon?
I don't know.
She is also from Canada. Maybe you want to she does her channel is Art Junkie. She does a live once a week, and she does some mixed media, and she does some coloring. She's been experimenting with different paint pens. I'm not sure exactly where she's located, but she may be in Quebec. But she says a lot. So wherever they say a lot, that's where she's from. Always think of those. What was that movie?
See, and Martha is saying to me, she's saying just do them and people will come. I guess that was when I was talking about a possible date change.
Oh.
And yeah, this has been a lot of fun. I have yet to be disappointed by any guest. Like everyone is similar, but yet different enough to keep it interesting. At least I'm certainly amused if no one else
Good.
is. Amused
That
and
might be.
informed.
I don't know
Um,
if I'm boring or not, but I really appreciate you having me and all my peeps.
yes, well that's great. And Jean, maybe I could just say, maybe you need to send me some of those people's names, and especially the ones where their names and their channels aren't self-evident.
Right.
You could send me an email maybe with some of those people to
Sure. And
further check out.
we can also speak through Messenger on Facebook if you do that.
I don't like
You
Facebook.
okay?
I
You
don't
don't use
use
it. Okay.
Facebook. Yeah, no.
Okay. All right.
It's a
We'll
sad
email.
state of affairs.
We can
Okay,
email.
thanks, guys. We'll see you in the next one.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Love you all. Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.